Hey, it's Keith. Today is the 4th of November, 2025, and it's actually an election day. It's a special election. And yeah, I've gotten like this mail recently that honestly I haven't bothered to like deal with. Um, I have been more interested in other things, and this is an election of one topic, and this topic is interesting. So I think I should now talk about it on this day, and I'm sorry that I haven't done it sooner. But my goal isn't actually to persuade anybody. I think almost everybody I know is going to be voting yes on Prop 50. And I'm just going to explain my logic for my vote. Now, the yes on Prop 50 logic is summed up with this. This is all that you need to know for like most people, like my dad and my buddies here. Like, it's just all about hating Trump. Maybe Trump derangement syndrome, I'm not sure. Like, it's there's legit reasons to hate Donald Trump for sure. And what's happening in the machinations of policy making, there's corruption involved. There's things happening right now that are bad. Gerrymandering is the main word here, and it's always been bad in my opinion. I have up here on my screen, this is my Google Earth Pro app, and I spend a lot of time on this, and I need to be making more content about this. But like, I am on here all the time. Just like, honestly, my dream job is to be on this independent commission for organizing boundaries for elected officials, for administrative divisions. Like, this is something I'm really passionate about in my area, specifically of Southern California here. Like, this is something I really care about, and I'm like offended that, for instance, my neighborhood of Echo Park is sometimes divided in half depending on what a congressional district is zoned as and why, and what state representative group I'm part of. Am I going to be linked with Silver Lake, which would make a lot of sense, or even downtown, or am I going to be linked with Glendale? Like, that makes a lot less sense. And this is what gerrymandering is, right? It's the politicking of counting constituencies and getting the people that would vote for you into your district, and that's corruption in my opinion. California has an independent board to do this right now, which is the right way for it to be done. And this vote is to erase that and replace it with a political redistricting in order to give Democrats more power. That's what this is about. And so if you're a Democrat and you're just playing the game of politics, you want more power to stop Trump from, quote, rigging elections. The subtext here is, we're going to rig elections too in order to counter him rigging elections. That's what this is. And so the question is, are you cool with that? Like, I grew up with this concept of two wrongs don't make a right. I know it's like a cliche, and it's like, in the real world, maybe it's not the time. So my point isn't to actually dissuade you guys, Ed and Jerry and Matthew and Ryan and Christine and everybody. Like, it makes sense to me that you would want to counter the Republican agenda at a national level and get more Democrats in the House of Representatives. It's a sensible logic to that. I'm not going to be doing it. And let's watch a little video to explain it. This is a minute and a half, so I thought we could watch this together.
Poked the bear, and we have woken up.
Governor Newsom at the convention center in downtown LA Saturday, rallying supporters to get out the vote and pass Prop 50, the ballot measure before voters in the special election.
Let's be honest, why are we all here? We're here because Donald Trump is an historic president. He's an historically unpopular president.
This is where this idea of Trump derangement syndrome comes from. Like, I actually, again, I have to feel like I have to say this every time I talk about Newsom. I actually somehow like him, even though he's a very flawed professional politician. I find him to be charismatic. I find him to be reasonable. He talks to people on the other side on his podcast. He has a great look. He feels, presidential in this kind of ambiguous way. But this is what Trump derangement syndrome is. Instead of saying, like, we're here to administer civilization the right way, no. We're here because Donald Trump is uniquely bad and we hate him. So let's change all of our rules against him. That's his speech.
Democrats rolled out their all-star lineup Saturday afternoon. Senator Padilla, Senator Schiff, Mayor Bass, and an appearance.
All four of those people represent me, by the way. Those are all, my area of Los Angeles is ruled over, administered by all four of these people. Mary Bass runs my city. Schiff was my congressperson. Now he's my senator. Padilla is also a senator. And these guys, is it a state senator? They all represent LA and the state of California. And I am okay with a lot of their beliefs, like the way that the direction that they want to take LA, like at the face of it, I would agree with it. But I think that they are essentially failing as a party for sure. And on the detailed level of what to be doing, like I think that this is the wrong thing to be doing. I'll get back to that.
By former Vice President Kamala Harris. Harris says a yes vote on Prop 50 sends a strong message to President Trump.
It is about reminding folks that we refuse to kneel at the foot of a tyrant.
Prop 50
that is
asks
such
voters
that
whether
language is insane to me. That's just insane language. Like Texas redrew their districts, and this is a response to that. Donald Trump did not redraw those districts. The Republican Party redrew those districts. If you want to talk about this tyranny of a systemic problem, it's the Republican Party, and Donald Trump is the head of that party right now as president, for sure. But this would be like, this is exactly like Republicans calling Obama a tyrant. Obama was not a tyrant. Obama was the head of a party that was voted in, and he was doing the diligent work of putting into policy what the majority voted for. That is what he did. And I will defend Obama for doing that because I loved Obama's admin. The Trump admin is doing things that, this is the game of politics of like, you're calling someone a tyrant because they're taking advantage of the tools given to them. It's like the same thing, I was just talking about baseball, and that is what I've been caring about lately until the Dodgers just won the World Series. Like, they're being accused of ruining baseball. That's what this sounds like. Donald Trump is ruining politics. He's using everything available to him to do what he wants. He's ruining it. I mean, look, sometimes you do want to reevaluate the rules. Like, maybe there should be more checks and balances. Maybe we should codify what used to be etiquette or tradition, and maybe we should make that actually a strict law, right? And I will criticize Trump if he tries to take a third term, which is not allowed. That was written out of law back in FDR's day, right? So when he deliberately breaks the law, and maybe you guys can tell me, those more informed with this stuff, that he is doing that, and that's valid. Take him to court for sure. But my whole point with this is where we're really getting into what I care about right here.
Not to redraw the state's current nonpartisan congressional map to favor Democrats and
This is it. This is what we're talking about. The current districts are nonpartisanly drawn by people like me who recognize that, let's see if I can zoom in on this. Up here, this Jeffersonian part of California, this place does not want to be part of California. This place is desert. There's really not much here. This is the Lassen National Park area. This is red for a reason, okay? This is red for a reason. This is not coastal California. This is not Valley California. This part is. So this should actually be maybe two places, but it's sparsely populated. So those places are kind of similar in how they think. This Chico and Sutter and Redding, it's fair enough to lump this in with this corner area. This is legitimately red. Now, there's not a lot of people here, and so I can see some logic in this proposed districting where it's like, well, you guys are so small. You're less than 1 million people up here, so we're 2 million over here, so we'll just take you over. And there's some logic, like if you're going to only divide the state how many times, then how do you do it? That's the question. And I am thinking about the people up here who are now not going to be represented. No representation. Like Mendocino and Humboldt do not represent Lassen and Modoc. They just don't. Like, those are two different places, and the people up here, like, granted, there's not a lot, but you know, on my map up here, like, this is what it looks like, right? It's like this area is beyond the mountains. This is just like Nevada. That's what this is. And so honestly, just cut it off and give it to Nevada and let them vote red in Nevada. Like, that's what I would do. But like, you have to think about keeping parts whole. That's how I believe. Like, I wouldn't want my house divided just to like gain another vote kind of thing. Like, a house divided cannot stand, you know? So to me, I'm looking at it from this more perhaps, I don't want to quite say ideological, but it's a principle driven point. Like, I have principles. That's what I'm saying here. Like, my principles are to represent people fairly, which an independent council has aimed to do. And the principles, there's no principles with the Democratic Party. The only goal is power. That is what is happening. So yes, if you just want the Democrats to have power, then yeah, this is for you. Vote yes. Vote yes to get rid of an independent commission, which we wanted to put in place to be correct, and now we want to take it away.
Eliminate up to 5 GOP House seats. Newsom and state Democrats scrambled to get the issue on the ballot. Show Prop 50 has strong support, hovering near 60%.
Yeah.
Issue on the ballot. Show Prop 50 has strong support.
This is why I didn't want to quite make this video, because like, when we're talking about the game of politics, that's when I just kind of want to step away. Like, I don't actually want to play that game. I don't love Donald Trump. I'm not a Republican. I don't want Republicans to have more power. That is not my goal. My goal is to have people represented. And I can think of plenty of topics right now that are like the issues of the day that I've spent years podcasting about, where I will lean conservative. I will lean socially conservative on topics like trans activism and surgeries for children without parental consent. And that is the kind of law or issue that the US Congress has to deal with. And I don't mind if there are more conservative minded people deciding that topic. There are other topics like universal health care, or even, you know, social welfare benefits, where I will side with Democrats because I think that poor people need help and that it should be easier to be helped. And a lot of Republicans are more, you know, laissez-faire about big business and HMOs and stuff. So I go issue by issue, and I will lose some issues with Republicans having more power, and I will also maybe win some issues. And I just let those chips fall as they may. My goal is to have a fair system with equal access to representation. That is my goal. And if that means that I'm opening my, I don't know. The thing is that I'm not part of a party. That's the difference. I feel independent on this. So if that means that Trump and his party take more control, so be it. I would have been okay with Obama doing that. Like, I don't actually mind an elected official who's properly, you know, that's the thing. That has to be fair. They have to be fairly elected for sure. But once they're in, they should be allowed those 4 years to do things. And let's see what those ideas actually look like on the ground. That's what I want to see. So to me, like, that's why I'm like, you guys, if you want to play this politics game where you're going to mess up California for the next 20 years because you had to change it for stopping Trump, like, now we have to go back and do this again later because now it's going to be all messed up.
Hovering near 60%, but the campaign to oppose Prop 50 is not giving up.
I do feel that we're a little bit down, but based on the rallies that we did today in Santa Barbara and Thousand Oaks, We have a lot of folks out there, and the only poll that matters is the one on election day. Voters will lose out in California on what's a gold standard. Full transparency. To throw that out for a backroom deal, predetermined elections for the next 3 cycles is bad for Democrats, Independents, and Republicans.
Tom Waite, CBS LA.
I agree with that. I think it's bad. You don't know what might happen by doing this. Like right now, we have developed a system of transparency and independent councils to draw these proper lines, and it could be better, I'm sure. And again, like, this is going to get deep into the system of like, why does California have this many when it should have that many? And if we had another extra one or two, maybe then it would be okay, yada, yada, yada. Like, again, like, this is a whole thing of, like, if someone like me wanted to impact change that I believed in, like, for instance, working on an independent council, I would probably have to start in my neighborhood of Echo Park and this part of LA. But ideally, I'd be working at the UN, you know what I mean? Like, go as big as possible and redraw the world to be administered less haphazardly. But that's not where I'm at, obviously. And just for me, if I go out and vote today, which I'm barely interested in doing, because like I kind of resent the fact that this is even happening. Like, this is the same kind of sham that people, this is said on both sides all the time, like, oh, he's just now doing this because he, like, this happened with Trudeau, and this happened back in the day with like Gray Davis and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's like people see a political opportunity to wrest power for themselves and their party, and so they just, let's have a special election because no one says we can't, so Texas did it, so we're going to do it, and now maybe the whole country's going to do it, and now we're going to have a bunch of really badly drawn gerrymandered districts, all to play these politics of Dems versus Republicans, and that's not the point. The point is, can we talk about each issue properly that the U.S. cares about, and why does it have to be drawn on party lines? Like, I hate how partisan things are. I hate it. I hate that you can figure out, like, okay, here's a bill, the big beautiful bill, who knows what the hell's in it, but if you're a Republican, you're going to vote yes, if you're a Dem, you're going to vote no. Like, why? What's in the bill? Shouldn't we know? Like, maybe the Dems in LA think a little differently than the Dems in Boston, and maybe we don't all want the same things, right? I mean, these labels are just so unhelpful at the end of the day. It's really just what vested interests have bought you. It's like, are you going to vote for Coke or Pepsi? Well, what if I don't want to drink soda at all? What if I want water, right? Like, if I'm only given these two sugary cola drinks and I want a LaCroix seltzer, like, I'm kind of screwed, right? And then everyone's going to tell me how Coke is the one, and it just makes the most sense, and it's just the most sensible traditional answer. But Pepsi is super new and cool, and you have to support that because Coke has been dominant too long. Like, I don't care. That's what this feels like to me. Like, I don't care about all that. I care about real things. And if we're talking about this topic, the real thing here is how to properly draw lines on the map to represent humans. That is the real thing. And the argument is, no, don't care about that. Just hate Donald Trump. That's all you should care about. Never mind the real issue of districting. Just oppose Donald Trump because he's bad. Everything he does is bad. Therefore, we have to take away Republican representation in our state, which is super diverse, has a ton of different, sociogeographic regions, and to just lump them all together because you're going to like play fast and loose with representation, that's fucked up in my opinion. So yeah, I'm not going to be voting yes on this. If I go and vote, which I'm going to have to deliberate now myself, I'll vote no. And the only thing that holds me back from going out and voting no is that I don't like being called a supporter of Donald Trump because I'm not trying to support Donald Trump. That's not my goal in voting no. My goal in voting no is to keep integrity in the administration process. That is my interest. And to be called a Trump supporter, to be called MAGA, because of that is insane. That is sad. That's how I feel about that. All right, guys. Until next time. Ciao.